Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
This town needs an enema.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Wake up from the ashes. You have my permission to die. This is your liberation.
My mother warned me about getting into cars with strange men.
This isn't a car. 20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
He's a silent guardian. A watchful protector. In the dark night. I'm Batman. Let the games begin.
Welcome to the Batman on Film podcast. Here are your hosts, Bill Jett Ramey and Rick Shue.
Hey now, and Happy New Year 2017. Thanks for tuning in to the very first Batman on Film podcast of this new year. Batman on Film is the sponsor and proud member of the Batman Podcast Network. Check out all of the shows at batmanpodcastnetwork.com. If you would like to advertise on BOF, on the BOF podcast that is, go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film podcast. And as always, Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, and the original. I am your host, as well as the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Jett Ramey. I am joined today by the awesome Batman on Film Roundtablers, Justin Kowalski and Ryan Haas. All right, Justin, Happy New Year. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Again, last day of vacation, so
yeah.
I'm headed back.
I hear you.
But it's been good. It's been a good time off. I've been playing a lot of Legos, man.
I saw some of the pictures, yeah. I love it when New Year's Day falls on Sunday or Saturday, and they have to give you that Monday off as a vacation day. All right, Ryan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I've had a good break as well. And Justin, I got something really tasty. You know what it is? If you guess, can you guess?
Something tasty?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's tasty.
You can get this.
I can get this.
I got to start the in-jokes right in 2017.
I don't. You're not much of a beer drinker, so it can't be
no.
Beer.
Cereal?
Close.
Okay, because you wrote a whole review on a box of cereal at one time.
Close.
2 boxes.
Me and Justin keep talking about these.
Okay, all right.
And I brought them up on a podcast.
Wait. I don't know, man. Something tasty.
It's apple chips, man.
Oh.
I got one right here.
All right.
Really good.
Thank you.
Okay. I thought it was funny.
Rick Shue was on assignment in his front yard raking leaves, apparently. So Rick is not going to be able to join us on this. Should we just go ahead and count it as the next podcast and number it, or I guess so. It's kind of it's an emergency podcast. We weren't planning on podcasting until this coming weekend, I don't think. But then, a few things. Well, one thing is broken, and then, of course, if you want to refer back to The Dark Knight and Heath Ledger's Joker, everybody's losing their minds over just a few blurbs, and it depends on how the story's framed and so forth. So we're here to educate a few folks, and we'll talk about some what ifs as well, but. The Guardian, of course, Ben Affleck got a new film coming out, which is called Live by Night. I'm supposed to see that next Monday night at a press screening, so I'm going to try to make sure I can get down there.
It's limited release. I think it opened already in cities, right?
Yeah,
it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not screening it press-wise. What's the official date? The 13th or something like? That's a Friday, right? Yeah, the 13th. And I think I'm supposed to see it on next Monday, which would be the 9th. So we'll see. I'm going to try to make it down there to see it. So anyway, he's out doing press for his new film. He's been doing that for quite a while actually, he's been doing a lot of press for Live by Night, and he is gave an interview with The Guardian, which that's a UK website and magazine, paper, whatever it is. Okay, and the story came out. The interview came out over the weekend. Am I correct on that as well? It came out over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, most of the interview was about Live by Night and other, Ben Affleck stuff. And of course, he's asked about his solo Batman film. And he says, this first part, I'm just paraphrasing. He says, doing a solo Batman film is, and this is the actual quote. I just got to set it up in the proper context. It says it's not a set thing and there's no script. If it doesn't come together in a way that I think is really great, I'm not going to do it. And of course, he said this stuff over and over again previously, but we know what, a couple of weeks ago he told New York Times, Variety, that two different outlets, that the Batman does indeed start filming in the spring. And so I wrote an article this morning. At first I was just going to go, okay, I'm going to avoid this. But then I had like a bunch of emails and then tweets, and then we've been talking about it, us, four, including Rick, text messaging about it. And Ryan sent me, he's the one that brought it up, and then he sent me the article, and then I read it, and then I kind of started last night writing an article, and I said, I don't know. Let me sleep on this. And then so I got this morning, I went ahead and wrote it. And my whole thing is this. If you read the article, you know what I said, is that I'm like 99.9 sure that this film is about to happen. It's just too much. It's just too much smoke out there for there not to be a fire. He did say that he was going to start filming in the spring. He did tweet out the video of Deathstroke a couple months ago. He has had two of his cast members, Jeremy, or who was it? Jeffrey Lyons.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, I was going to do the red.
Jeffrey Lyons.
Jeffrey Lyons, or also known as, in the real world, he's known as Jeremy Irons, said that they start filming early this year or at some point around the spring. And Deathstroke himself. What's his name?
And there's your article of filming in California.
I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
I don't want to butcher Joe's name. Manganiello.
Manganiello.
I'm
yeah, I think
sir,
it's Manganiello.
If you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to butcher your name, but he's even said that a couple times. Have said that they start filming this spring. So, and what Ryan brought up, I was told over the weekend, and this is a very good source, is that the Batman is going to be filming and be based at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank. And I'm sure that they'll film on location. Heck, they may go and do filming in Toronto or Detroit, wherever, but I think they're going to be based at Warner Brothers in Los Angeles and do a lot of stuff there. So, and I know this because people are getting hired for this job. They're getting hired, not actors, we're not talking about casting, but we're talking about, behind the scenes stuff. And there's, good Lord, how many people work on a film? I mean, look at the credits, so that's going on right now. So I'm of the belief that everyone needs to relax and and just, understand that. Don't you think when we said it, Justin, don't you think that he did this interview a while back before he just went ahead and told, Variety, whoever, or New York Times, I think it was Variety, that, we're doing the Batman. It's probably going to start in the spring. So what's your thought?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the whole time he's been playing coy, like you said. I think we've all kind of the whole time. It's not ready yet. When it's ready, I'll do it. Kind of a way to shut down. Hey, let's talk about Batman. We'll talk about Batman when it's time to talk about Batman. But, and Variety is where he said that they were on track. Everything's coming together. And he said he was very excited. So for him to say, I'm very excited. And then, whatever on, Sunday for someone to say, oh, no, it ain't going to happen. I just think it's an old quote from kind of his old way of going about the situation. So, it's non-news, clickbait is what it is right now. I think people just want to, stir up and go back and forth and have conversation. Yeah, I'm really not that concerned about it. I just think people want to, it's the internet. This is what the internet exists for, to make mountains out of molehills and
yeah. And especially the way the story's been framed by a lot of people who report it, even Hollywood Reporter, for Pete's sake, made it sound like he's hedging his bets and so forth and so on.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah,
I really
exactly.
didn't.
Yeah. You read that?
It's really weird.
I read that this morning.
And it was like, you, not just reporting what he said, you're kind of doing a lot of inferencing and taking it in another direction. So, Ryan, since you sent the article to all of us, what was your first thoughts? Here we go again with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, when you read that article, the first thing I thought was, well, this is not just an article about this quote. It's like a big, it's like a big piece about Affleck himself and all his projects and what he's up to and all that. Yeah. It's like and it reads to me like something that somebody's worked on for a while that they held to post until after Christmas, when people would start reading internet articles again.
Because I think a lot of people get the perception that like he just said this,
exactly,
now,
and that's the way it's being reported. Yeah. I mean, the Guardian piece is pretty clear to me that was the case, but all these other places are picking it up just because it's kind of a game now. Like every single thing that Affleck says that's one sentence or less, it turns into a giant article that we have to all discuss about. So yeah, I think at this point we're just coming out of Christmas, we're coming into the new year. The internet is totally running on fumes right now, just trying to get any piece of news that seems like news, but I'm sure that's old information, and everything that you said, Bill, is I'm not worried about it. I think it's a given that the movie's happening.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I'm getting annoyed with it. Like it's kind of annoying to hear it all the time. Imagine how he feels. Like, man, do I have to hear this again? That's the part where I feel like if he was going to walk away, is it because of all this back and forth? He's not doing it. He thinks it sucks. Like how overly scrutinized every comment he makes, that gets tiring. Like it's kind of like having this is not my wife. It's kind of like having a nagging wife all the time. And like every time you say something.
And he wants to talk about his new movie, and then everyone wants to talk about Batman, Let me throw this out, because when I posted it on the Facebook page, there are all sorts of responses, but one of our Facebook fans said basically, how long does it take to write a good script for Batman? There's countless stories over decades. They have never been adapted. I'm tired of reading these articles. Well, we're with you on that. We are all tired of reading the articles. But the gist is that, come on now. It can't be that hard to write a good Batman script, because, Affleck has made comments like, we're working on the script, blah, 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 and so forth. I just take such an exception to that sort of take on it, because it's one thing. It's making comic book films seem so. Come on now, how hard is it to throw together a comic book movie film script or whatever? But you also got to take into account the kind of filmmaker Ben Affleck is, the kind of screenwriter Ben Affleck is, and he's following Christopher Nolan.
Yeah,
it will be the first solo Batman film since the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, and a handful of critically contentious films leading up to it after that.
Exactly, and I think the same gentleman said that. Let me look here. I don't want to butcher what he said exactly. He says it isn't The Godfather or Citizen Kane, and I really like. All right, hold on now. The Dark Knight is one of the most critically acclaimed films in the last 20 years of the
not just comic book films.
Films.
Yeah,
and
films. Yeah,
that's what I'm sure that's what Ben Affleck is going for, is a film on the caliber of not just The Godfather or Citizen Kane, but by gosh, the Dark Knight. Yeah. So,
and he said as much too.
Yeah, exactly. He has said this much. So, Ryan, I mean, what do you think about that kind of take on it?
I mean, my take on it is that we shouldn't rush him. I mean, don't, and he said that, don't rush me. I mean, I'm doing this thing, I'm Batman, and when it's ready to go, it'll be ready to go. But I think everybody's just at a point where everybody wants it so bad, and we're just, listening to every word he says, and everybody's just excited, but it is frustrating to hear the back and forth, but it's fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going through this thread on the Facebook. It's pretty funny.
But just the fact that I don't think we should be saying. I mean, comic book movies should strive to be good movies. I mean, I don't think any filmmaker is going to be like, last time a filmmaker said, well, it's just for fun, let's do whatever, and it's just for kids. We got Batman and Robin. You know what I mean? So, and the studio knows that too.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. When you do something that's going to be under the microscope like this, get it right, man. Guy's an Oscar award-winning screenwriter. Like, I want him to do it the way that makes him feel most comfortable,
Yeah. And the whole thing is, and I said this, is that he is promoting his new film, and he wants to focus on that. I think he probably said that, we're doing the Batman in April or whenever to the Variety was kind of like, okay, maybe this will shut it all down. And maybe it has as far as, the press and so forth. But again, like The Guardian, you've got articles that were written well before he said that, and now they're going to cycle back around because of the new year, and the movie's coming out in a couple of weeks, that he's probably back in his being very coy mode. And let me bring this up, and this is another quote. Rachel, not announcer Rachel, but Rachel D. She is a very loyal Batman on Film reader, and she loves and does listen to all our podcasts. She likes to comment. We appreciate all the comments that Rachel provides, but she's really down on the DCEU, and basically, and I'm trying to, I hope I wasn't was I rude in my analogy that I'm going into coach teacher mode and I'm going to do some education here? So her whole thing was like, Affleck is going to go back to the way it was 15, 20 years ago. He's going to be a punchline. She brings up the sad Affleck meme and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And, for one thing how many when I say great directors have made shit films? About every one of them?
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. So it's just not like that doesn't happen. And this was in terms of Live by Night's early reviews. And I don't know if Live by Night is crap. I haven't seen it, so I can't say anything, So
she said the accountant was bad, but
but you just talked about the accountant. No, he didn't direct the accountant. He just acted it, and you said you liked it. So
I thought it was a good movie.
But the thing is, why saying this? Why do you say this stuff? And blah, blah, blah. And again, it goes back to he's getting asked all the time. He's doing another film. If he wasn't doing this film and having to do press, he wouldn't be out there being asked these questions, and then we wouldn't be getting these quotes that everybody is got their panties in an uproar about. And one of the points I made to her was that the whole time I covered Nolan on the Dark Knight trilogy, this dude didn't say it was coy as hell. From Begins to Dark Knight, from Dark Knight to Rises, he always acted like he didn't know if he was going to do another Batman film.
Yeah.
And we know now that he wanted to do a trilogy, and that he would only do a trilogy and another film, from Begins to the Dark Knight to Rises. He would only do the next one if he thought there was a good enough story to be told, because he always put everything in those films. So it's the
that
same,
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's the same thing. This is not like some anomaly of filmmakers, and quite frankly, they lie. Actors lie when they're asked about parts. I mean, don't be offended about it. It's just the way it is, because a lot of times they're contractually obligated not to say anything, and so forth. So,
I just, plus, we've got like a whole, and it's the whole cart before the horse argument too. In addition to the Batman happening, which we're all excited about, we do have Affleck has his projects that come out before that. We've got Wonder Woman, we've got Justice League, which has Batman in it. So the focus, I'm sure, should probably be on those films first. So we lead up into the Batman, even if it's coming out in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of said my thoughts. What I said earlier today, probably about 20 minutes ago, we were texting. I said, worst case scenario, if Affleck is super pissed off, doesn't want to be a part of this, and he leaves, WB recast.
Yeah.
That's let me be clear, that's not what I want to happen, but that's what would happen. I mean, they're not going to end the DC universe because Affleck's not a part.
Yeah, and I said this on a tweet, and I also texted it to y'all before I tweeted. I said the only little bit of me, little smidgen, little small part of me in my mind makes me think, and this is something that Rick has brought up before, is that does he know that Justice League is going to suck, and he's just ready to bail out now? I don't think that's the case. I just don't.
Yeah.
No.
Not because of look, Justice League may not be the greatest thing in the world, but I don't think that. I mean, why would he send out that video of Deathstroke? They were ending production right then, so he would know.
Yeah.
As much as he was involved in that film, he would know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got bumped up to an executive producer, and he worked a lot closer on it so that it would lead up into future projects that he's doing with the character. So yeah, I think everything's fine.
Yeah.
And if he really wasn't going to do the movie, don't you think WB would be like, we need to know if you're not doing this movie because there will be a Batman movie? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I'm wondering.
Of course, you would have to, if that was the case, you'd have to probably push it back and find a new, director.
But I'm sure it is the utmost priority for WB to make sure that a solo Batman movie is coming out.
All right. So do we all agree that everyone just needs to relax and not? Take everything so
Affleck
literal
loves Batman. Yes. He wants to do this film.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear the podcast? It was Kevin Smith's Batman on Batman show, and he actually lives in Ben Affleck's old house.
Yeah.
And he was telling the story of how when he went over to Affleck's house years ago, he got really excited. He's all, dude, I have a Batcave here. And there's like a hidden room or something in the house.
In the closet.
Yeah.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
It's like a panic room Batcave.
He was really excited about having this like hidden room because it was like, hey, he loves Batman. And one of the reasons he even did Daredevil was because he thought doing Batman was never going to happen post Batman and Robin. And so it was like, hey, Daredevil might be kind of close to doing something. Anywho, that being said,
can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, he's like us, basically. I've always heard that about him and Batman and stuff. But can you imagine, being like us with Batman, and they get to play Batman, and like he is?
Yeah.
It's got to be awesome,
Oh yeah. It's funny in the Accountant movie. This is not really a spoiler, and if it is, sorry.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
There's like a quick scene where he's got like Superman #1 and a few other comic books. I thought Green Lantern, like All American Comics #1 was in there too, but in a drawer, and he takes these things with him, like things that mean the most to him. So I don't know how much of that was like his call or what, or the writers.
I think there was
there's another thing. There's another thing too. I don't want to give that away.
Okay. There was an interview where they were like, hey, did you ever think about putting a Batman comic in there? And they're like, yeah, well, we thought that'd be a little bit too on the nose, but but they went ahead through Superman.
But I just thought that was cool.
So everyone calm down and relax. I think everything is fine with this film. We'll be getting a hell of a lot of news here after like today's really a vacation day still from the holiday for everybody. So things should be kicking up pretty soon. Justin, you're getting closer to Lego Batman. You getting excited? I've seen all the...
Oh, man, I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
I built the Joker's car. Okay. Me and my kid got it for Christmas. Nice. And I put a video of it on Twitter, and we put like some gangster rap music to it.
Didn't you do awesome. a stop motion deal with Batman?
Yeah. I stop motion of it, and I put it up on my Twitter. If you go back a couple days, it's there. Maybe retweet it again. It was
so all the toys, are they out? Like if you go to stores and stuff?
All the Legos are out, man.
I'm gonna go. I haven't looked.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw that. I tweeted out like all those displays I was seeing at Toys R Us.
I got to get out there and check this.
We got some
out.
of the minifigures. We got the Mr. Freeze set, and we have the Joker car.
Awesome.
There's one that's like $200, man. I'm like, forget that.
Yeah, like Arkham Asylum. Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
Arkham
gosh.
Asylum. Yeah, I'm like, there's just no way, man.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I bought a handful of those minifigures, and it's really cool. I mean, there's like 20 different ones you can get.
Yeah.
But it's random, so you don't know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. So I've got a couple of duplicates. I'm probably going to give to Justin because he needs them.
Yeah, I need it. I can send you that.
I'm looking for like a Two-Face that's got the real outfit and everything. But the only one I can see so far is he's in that expensive Arkham Asylum, but he's got like a prison jumpsuit on. So I haven't seen anything yet where you can just get a regular Two-Face, but I'm looking out for that one.
What's the largest size Lego Batman, Batman figure you can get? Are they as big as like the stuff that for like Suicide Squad and
no
BBS? There's nothing that.
Well, they have banks. They have a bank that's that size. I think that's
clock,
the biggest you can get.
Clock kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I did order. I think I said this on a post before. I ordered a 11 by 17 mini poster of the Lego Batman, the one that's be yourself unless you can be Batman, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that should be coming in. I'm gonna frame that and put it in my office. So I'm excited for that. And I'm gonna go check out some of this Lego stuff here.
Yeah. Here's a cool thing. I took the kids. We went and saw this movie, Sing, the other day just to get them out of the house.
Yeah.
And they played all these trailers, and Lego Batman trailer came on, and people were screaming. They were excited. So that was kind of cool to see because there was all these trailers, and it was like, who cares? A dog movie, this and this. And Lego Batman, and everyone was like, Lego Batman! So you can feel the room got excited for it.
That movie's going to be huge, isn't it? I think it's going to be huge.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going up against, but I'm just excited for it. I could care less if it's huge or not, man. I'm just, for myself.
Yeah.
It just looks like so much fun.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait. And it's in IMAX and everything, and I'm going to go see that. And that's close. We were down, about a month and a half now from that thing?
Yeah, a month and a half out.
Yeah, awesome. Okay.
Oh man, it comes out. Talk about counter programming. The movies that come out that weekend are Lego Batman movie, 50 Shades Darker, and John Wick Chapter 2.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I know that kind of sucks. I want to see both of those, but gotta see Lego Batman.
I think there's John Wick can kind of compete with that as far as, there'll be a lot of guys like men demographic who want to see that and Lego Batman, but I don't think the 50 Shades Darker is going to compete with Lego Batman, but I think it's going to have great legs and do really well. I'm excited for it. So, Ryan, you wrote a good article about the comic books. You want to just talk about that for a second, just to plug it for BOF?
Yeah, I've got a couple of articles that came out yesterday, actually.
Oh, yeah,
the whole retrospective.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, well, the first one is short. I keep talking about Batman Arkham VR on the podcast, and I was going to write a little blurb about it for Bill's rundown of TV and video games, but it turned into a full review once I started typing. So Bill was kind enough to post that. So I've got a full review of Batman Arkham VR. If you're still on the fence about wondering if it's something you want to do, and it comes with very high praise from me. The other article I've got that just came out yesterday is just a big 2016 Batman in Comics retrospective, and I just kind of break down all of the major high points in comics over the last year for Batman specifically, and there was a ton of them once I started writing. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't really think of anything in the past, I don't know, what'd you say, guys, like 10 years where there's this many like good things happening in comics from all these different points. I mean, like we had the end of the Snyder Capullo run. We had the Paul Dini's Dark Knight graphic novel, which is just
I came out of nowhere. I haven't read it yet.
It's really good. It's really good. It came out of nowhere, and it's really powerful storytelling. And then you had DC Rebirth. We've got excellent, Tom King Batman stuff and Detective Comics, and I talk about all the ancillary titles with the other heroes like Nightwing and Batgirl, and Snyder's All-Star Batman has just been really fantastic,
what, Ryan? I think my single, and I don't know if I was remiss in mentioning it. I think I mentioned it early in the year, but I think the most favorite Batman comic book moment for me this year was Dark Knight: The Last Crusade. I thought that was just awesome,
absolutely
awesome. It's just
absolutely, and it's one of those things where
and you did
it was
write
so
about
poignant.
Yeah.
It was so poignant when it came out, and then we had and that's the thing, for as many issues of Dark Knight 3 proper that we had, we had that Dark Knight Returns: Last Crusade come out in the middle of the year, and when you look back at everything that came out this year, that book kind of stands out as this really, really well done companion to The Dark Knight Returns, filling in those gaps about what happened to that Robin. It's really well written. The art, it was great. It's, Romita Jr., same guy that's doing All-Star Batman, but it's got more of a Frank Miller vibe to it. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Dark Knight: Last Crusade. That's just a really well done book, and I think it's going to be, it sits right next to Dark Knight Returns for me.
Let me ask y'all a couple of things about just staying on comics just for a second. We don't get to talk about comics as much as I think us three would like. Since Rick doesn't read them. Rick, and he still hasn't watched the Lego movie. I keep asking him about that.
I watched it yesterday as I took ornaments. Yeah,
it's good. So,
good.
What did you think about the ending to I Am Suicide in Batman?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was different. It completely. I feel like it's not done. I feel like it was a contained story.
It's
that's
something.
Going to
it's just something.
It
seems like hanging over. Am I getting that impression? Or do y'all feel that as well? Because I guess with I don't want to do. All right, we're going to talk spoilers. If you haven't read it yet, turn off. Now Bane. I thought it was really cool with Bane not being on Venom. I hope they don't use that as such. To me, the Venom thing is such a crutch. When we've been down that road before, you know what I mean. So, and the whole Catwoman Batman relationship, I thought that was really done really well. So that was my thoughts on that. Ryan, any thoughts on the end of that little story arc?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh man!
Oh, Ryan.
I haven't read it yet. It's in my big stack of things I got to catch up with.
I don't know. Okay.
The whole thing, man. Okay, I'm gonna dance around this.
I've heard what you guys have said so far. I have heard.
Okay.
Happened.
All right.
And I'm really excited about the next arc because it does focus on Bane, and I think Bane's been due for a nice reinvention for a while, and it's gonna lend credence to people that are like, oh, he's gonna have Venom, and look what Nolan did. He didn't have Venom in the in the movies, but now it's kind of interesting how it retroactively is coming back.
I didn't spoil it for you, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. One other one I want to ask you about is an All-Star Batman. The end of that first run, the Two-Face. What was My Brother's Keeper? Was the name of that storyline?
I haven't finished this, but I don't care if you spoil it.
All I'm going to say is, I know a lot of times that Scott Snyder, only criticisms he's had is he's kind of
the end of his arcs.
Yeah, the end is kind of, I don't want to say disappointing, but he doesn't. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here, Ryan. It's
stick the landing. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he did it in this one. So if you haven't read it yet,
nice.
Justin, have you read it?
No.
Ryan? Okay.
No.
I think y'all both will like it. And I got to read it early, which was kind of cool. So,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Scott Snyder contacted me out of the blue and says, hey, you want to read the last installment of the My Brother's Keeper and review it? I went, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah. So that was pretty awesome.
Was that his first interaction with you ever, or was it just kind of
every once in a while he says he's kind of he's cool, but he's very he's vague, and he'll because John Beerley used to talk to him all the time, and we tried to get him on to do a podcast, and he would say, okay, we're going to do it, and then we wouldn't hear from him, blah blah blah. So that's something I need to ramp up and try to maybe get him on at a podcast at some point, because
he's pretty good.
He seems to do a lot of press for his stuff, so I'd love to get him on, talk about Batman on this podcast. And Ryan, what's it going now in All-Star? Is it like little one-shots? It looks like the next one.
I think it's, how long is that Mr. Freeze arc? That's next, right?
One arc.
Really?
Yeah. Because the next one is, I think, the one following that is the next issue is I want to say Mad Hatter. So yeah, and with a different artist and stuff. I know Jock
Poison Ivy.
Oh, Poison Ivy. Okay, maybe it's Poison Ivy and then the Mad Hatter. So I was just looking at the DC page. So it's Jock doing the Mr. Freeze one that's coming up. So that should be interesting.
And then All-Star Batman 8 is Mad Hatter. Yeah, interesting. So I guess maybe he's doing some, because I knew there was a very long list of like creators and people he was artists he was going to work with. So it seems like maybe he's going to do these bigger arcs separated by one shots here and there, which is great. And that's the thing that I talk about in my article. It's just about how this book and this format is really letting Snyder do some just really interesting and fun things with the character without having to be shackled down by being driving force behind DC continuity right now. I think it's been really good.
Have you both read it up until this last issue? Are you caught up on it?
Yes. Other than the very last issue that just came out, yeah.
Justin, you caught up through except for the last issue of All Star?
Yeah. I need to get. I'm too behind now.
Okay, but
actually, the city. It's weird. I read that one digitally, and usually when I buy a digital comic, I read it right away. But it was kind of let me get it, and then I'll.
Did you?
So I'm backlogged.
So if y'all liked it up through, I mean, the run so far.
Oh yeah. It's just kind of my only thing, and it's not an issue I have with it. It just doesn't. I don't know where it sits, but I don't really care too much where it sits.
Yeah.
You know?
It's pretty awesome. It's just it's been like balls to the walls, pedal to the metal since the very beginning. So
it's Mad Max Batman.
Well, it is. And you can, and that's the thing too. And you can tell, like, after reading his entire New 52 Batman run, it really feels like he needed a change of pace and just something different. And I think he's like found his voice again to like tell some new stories and things that he can do that's different now. And there was a whole article in one of these early Rebirth books about talking to his son and road trips and stuff and how he came to the idea for that first arc of All-Star Batman. It's just really good, and the arts and I like the whole, like I said, I like the whole concept behind it. Just what he's been able to do with the characters is really fun, and the different artists are all adding something different too.
Okay, one last. I'm gonna nerd out a little bit more on comics. Just one last thing. Are you?
Yeah, let's do it.
How are y'all? Are y'all caught up on Dark Knight 3?
No.
Okay.
I'm waiting until it comes out because
you're gonna read it as that.
Yeah.
Ryan, how are you? Where you stand on Dark Knight 3?
I have the last issue yet to read. All the stuff that came out.
Okay.
This last one. I've got your review pulled up, but I'm not going to read it until after I read the book.
Okay. All right.
But I still kind of agree with what you've been saying. Even before reading this issue, I'm just like, oh, this story's slow, and I don't know if it's the story itself. Maybe it just feels like it because we've been, an issue comes out and then we have to wait.
If you were getting them, you're getting them, consistently, pretty quick. I think it'll read a lot better as a collected. And now that I'm into it, I mean, I'm glad I read it. And I mean, like, for Pete's sake, the next issue doesn't come out till March. Number 8 is March. So I don't know. And they're going to do they're going to do a part 4. And they're going to do a 9th. They added on a 9th.
At least a 9th issue. Yeah.
So I think, a lot of people have complained about the story. I've loved the story.
I don't really get the complaints. People have been saying, "Oh, it's just as bad as Dark Knight 2," and I'm like, "What?
There's no way it's even near bad Dark Knight."
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so,
I've heard it. It's weird.
Well, you're doing it right, Justin. Read it as a collected graphic novel or as a whatever trade.
It's really hard to avoid stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm managed to stay pretty unspoiled on it. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, my goal was to read, when it was back when it was 8 issues, my goal was to wait until 4 issues come out and read half of it, and then wait until the rest comes out and then read it.
Yeah.
But I did that for the first 4, but then after that, I've just been reading every issue since then.
It's a good idea. That's a good idea. I may do that if they do this. If they do this part 4, I'll do it like that because my gosh, I mean it is. My picture for it was a bowl of molasses and a spoon, so it is running pretty slow as molasses. So all right, let's we'll go ahead and close this out. And Justin, going to plug anything?
Yeah, I'm actually recording another podcast later on today, or another episode. Let's go. We're gonna talk about Star Wars and some end of year stuff. So that should be out maybe tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
So that, and yeah, man, excited for Batman on Film 2017.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, it's gonna be a busy. It's gonna
stuff
be
coming up.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a busy Batman year. All right, Ryan, what you got, sir?
Yeah, 2017 is going to be great because we're going to get Ben Affleck's Batman movie, unless we aren't. But we are, unless we aren't. But wait a second. Follow me on Twitter at SMB_Ryan. And like I said, I've got 2 articles on BOF that just came out right now, the Batman Arkham VR review and that whole Batman and Comics 2016 retrospective. So if you liked anything we were talking about here and want a little bit more detail, you can check that out. I also updated my Super Mario Brothers movie website for the first time in about 2 years yesterday. So if you go to the Super Mario Brothers movie archive at smbmovie.com, I've got an article on there about a brand new Steelbook Blu-ray that's coming out. It's Region 2 only still, but it's got tons of special features, including the documentary I helped produce on that original Blu-ray. So all that information is there at smbmovie.com.
Cool. Hey, do you have that new thing that came out, the original NES?
The NES Classic?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Oh man,
Is it awesome?
It was tough to get. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it is.
great. It's pretty
Okay.
great.
All right, I'm gonna get one eventually because I just got to. So it's what was the whole? It wasn't. I saw people they had it like news stories. People were camping out for it and stuff. So
Yeah, because they didn't make enough to meet the demand.
Was it just Best Buy at first, or how did they?
It was Best Buy and Target and Toys R Us.
Okay.
And
didn't
you could
GameStop
not
have some? No.
Yeah, GameStop had some too.
Okay.
You could not. They did not open pre-orders, so you couldn't pre-order them.
Okay.
So you basically had to show up at the store the day of, and they sold out really fast. And ever since then, there's been trickles of stock of them out, both online and everything. I ended up getting mine by stalking Walmart.com for like a week. They came. They were at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like every day for a week. They released a small set of them, and like the first day, I was able to log into my account. The second day, I was able to add it to the cart. Third day, I was able to put my address in. So every day I got a little bit further, and I eventually got one.
Goodness.
It was kind of a nightmare.
One other
just
thing
to play
I
a bunch of games.
did want to ask you is it? Did you get the Return to Arkham?
Yes.
Okay, is that worth getting or no?
If you have never played the Arkham games, get it.
All right.
If you have not played them in a long time and have a hankering to re-explore, to play them again, if you've beat Arkham Knight and all that, and you're like, okay, I want to play through all the games, it's a good place to start for sure, because it's got updated graphics, and I believe it's got all the DLC and all that stuff in a nice little package.
I think I'm gonna pick that up because I miss playing those games, and I don't have my PS3 anymore. So
and that's exactly why.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
I went and got an Xbox One.
Oh, did you?
There you go.
Yeah. So
What are you playing? Anything you want to mention? You're playing?
I'm playing the Lego Dimensions with Batman.
Oh, cool.
That game is so fun, man.
I wonder if they're going to, because with that game they can release entire, additional games. Basically, they've got like a Fantastic Beasts thing you can buy that like includes that whole game. They've got like a Ghostbusters thing.
We were having.
I wonder if they're going to release like a Lego Batman movie story mode or something.
I bet you they do, because the way they had this set up is you can just keep adding on to it and adding on to it.
Exactly.
Man, I got it's kind of surreal because you're Batman. I mean, there's 3 characters, like Gandalf, Batman, and Wildstyle. Those are the 3 core.
Okay.
It's already bananas, right? And but you end up, you can go to different lands, and so I have Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters. We have a few characters we already got, and so you're like Peter Venkman and Batman and Gandalf and Mr. T.
What game is this?
Lego Dimensions.
Dimensions.
To play other characters, you have to buy them at the store.
But they have all the good franchises. They've got like Back to the Future and Simpsons, and it's for every system.
It's for every system. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so fun. And the only thing is for us, we're like, oh man, to play certain levels, you got to buy like a different character. So my kids had gift cards at Toys R Us, and they had a half off sale. So we got E.T. and we have Mr. T and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. And it's really fun. And it's funny because Batman in the game is like comic book Lego Batman. And then when you go to Lego World, you see Lego Batman, and he's like, "This isn't the real Batman. I'm the real Batman." It's just
awesome.
Like he's kind of jealous of him. So
there's like even different Batman, different Batmans within Lego Dimensions. That's amazing.
All right, I'm gonna get that. I didn't know if it was just like an Xbox One. My son has Xbox One, but I only have the PS4. And anyway,
you can get it on.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check it out then. All right, I'll let announcer Rachel take us out, and I'm sure we'll be back this weekend. We were planning on doing a show this weekend, so we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Happy New Year, and peace out.
Hey now! You've been listening to the Batman on Film podcast, a proud member and the sponsor of the Batman Podcast Network, BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. You can listen to the BOF podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, and wherever good podcasts like this one can be found. Want to advertise on the BOF podcast? Go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film Con podcast. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film and on BOF's Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Jett.BatmanOnFilm. Email Jett via Jett@batman-on-film.com. Follow Rick on Twitter at ShoeRick and on Facebook at facebook.com/BOF-Shoe. For Jett, Rick, Justin, and Ryan, I'm announcer Rachel. Thanks for listening.
And countless unique trophies stand in mute testimony to the ability of one man. It is a cavern filled to bursting with the stuff of legend. The untold legend of the Batman.